Hey first graders, we're here working on math lesson 710. I wish I really would have sent you 2 copies of this in your paper pack because we're going to be working with What's My Rule again today. So if you used a pencil yesterday, maybe you could erase the numbers from yesterday, or you can use the back and just make the simple tables on your own. You don't need to perfectly draw these beautiful function machines. Just a spot for your rule. So if you wanted to pause the video for a minute and make sure you have a paper or this from yesterday, that would be awesome. And now we're going to keep going and start with our math message to kick off our lesson. And it is this function table right here. So if you want to pause and work on this, that's going to be our math message for the day. All right, so when we are looking at this math message, we can see there's no rule. So we're trying to figure out the rule. And then you can see that the numbers that are missing are actually the numbers that are going in. So we're going to check out the rule. So the way you may have figured out the rules, you're looking at the numbers. You're looking, they start at 1 and it goes up to 3, 2, it goes up to 4, and 3 goes up to 5, 4 goes up to 6. So we know what's going up, which means our rule is going to be plus, and how much is it going up by? So I'm going to write out the number sentences. So we have 1 plus blank equals 3, 2 plus blank equals 4, and 3 plus blank equals 5 for those first couple facts. So you're trying to figure out the rule that goes in there to make those true. And you probably figured out that our rule is plus 2. It takes 2 more hops to get from 1 to 3, or from 2 to 4, or from 3 to 5. So I'm going to fill in all those 2's, and I want you to double check that 2 makes sense for all of these, okay? So 1 plus 2 is 3, yup. 2 plus 2 is 4, yup. And 3 plus 2 is 5. Perfect. Okay, now to figure out what went in and this came out, we're going to have to do a little backwards thinking. So we're checking that whatever number went in, so if you look at our in numbers, they're smaller than our out numbers. How much smaller are they? They're 2 smaller, so we kind of have to think backwards. So really we could take our out number and have 9, and instead of adding 2, we're actually going to subtract 2 so we know what number went in and then added 2 and this one came out. So you're kind of thinking backwards when you don't know your in number, but you do know your out number. You're switching this plus sign now kind of to a negative or to a minus. So 9 minus 2 means that 7 went in and 9 came out. And then we can double check that's right by checking what 7 plus 2 is. And 7 plus 2 is 9. So we got that right. So we figured that out by thinking subtraction, actually 9 minus 2, because we're working backwards from the out to the in. So again, we're thinking backwards. 12 minus 2 would be what number went in, and that is the number 10. And you can check that by making sure 10 plus 2 equals 12, and it does. Okay, so that is our function machine kind of working backwards. I want you to check out these 2 number sentences here that I was writing at the end for these ones we didn't know. We didn't know the beginning, so that's what the unknown was there. We knew something plus 2 equaled 9. We had to figure out that something. So that unknown went from being here when we didn't know the rule, it went to being the first number out here when we didn't know the number that went in, okay? All right, so now we're doing our next one here, which is add 1. So I actually wrote the word add because I'm showing you that you can do it that way too. And look at our numbers here. We have some that we know the in, and we only know some of the out. So we have to be using that kind of backwards thinking like we just learned on this first one. So if we put the number 1 in and we add 1, we know that what would come out would be the number 2. It just got 1 bigger. And then if we put in the number 4 and we add 1, we would get the answer of 5. But now we have the ones that come out. So we want to know what went in. So we know that you added 1 and the answer ended up being 7, but we don't know that first number. We know that we added 1 and it came out as 7. So where did it start? Remember, you can think backwards. So instead of 7 plus 1, you go backwards and think, oh, it's actually 7 minus 1, and that would be what it started with, which is 6. And then the same type of thinking, because we only know that the number that comes out for the next one is 10. So we know blank plus 1 is going to equal 10. And we think backwards, so we know that that 10 is the one that came out. So it's actually going to be 10 minus 1, and then we would find out the answer of 9. And we would know that 9 was actually what went in, and 10 came out. All right, I'm going to put these last two right here for you to solve on your own. So the 7 is what's going in, and the 9 for the last one, you know, is the out. So I want you to figure those out. Oh, you can pause the video. Miss Lumsden will write the answers, and we'll see if we got the same ones. All right, so Miss Lumsden actually got 8 for both of those answers because a 7 went in and we added 1 more and an 8 came out. And for the last one, we knew that a 9 went in and we had to work backwards, so we subtracted 1, and the 8 is actually what was in, and the 9 came out. Okay, great job, friends. So this very last one is thinking totally backwards. So this very last one, I have none of my in numbers. I only know what numbers are coming out. And after all these numbers go in, they're adding 3. So if we have to think backwards to find all these answers, we're actually going to take our out numbers. We're kind of going backwards through our function machine here. We're putting in, or it's really the numbers on this side are the ones coming out. We're going to go backwards and subtract 3 instead of add 3. And we will do that for the whole thing because we don't have any in numbers. So we're not actually putting any in and adding 3 and seeing what came out. We already know what came out, so we're actually going to subtract 3 and see what went in. So you can pause there and figure out those numbers, and then I'll show you the answers. All right, have your answers and see if you got the same as Miss Lumsden. So I went through and subtracted 5 minus 3 would mean that the number that started was a 2. 6 minus 3, 9 minus 3, 3 minus 3, 12 minus 3, and 10 minus 3. Okay, so today we were using our knowledge of these function machines to actually almost think backwards and be able to solve when we only know what number came out. We could still figure out the number that went in. All right, good work today. Talk to you soon. Bye.